Hello and welcome to Eat Your Backyard, my YouTube channel where I talk about all kinds of things I'm into, like edible things, but also tropical, beautiful things like palm trees. And I know a number of you are very interested in this topic. And today I want to talk about, I hope the wind's not too bad. Let me know if it is. But I want to talk about foxtail palms, and this is a good example of what they can look like when they're healthy. And first I want to talk about some care tips and concepts, and then I'll tell you about some possible uses for them for you around your yard. So there they are, the foxtail palms. You see one that you see them that they've been grown actually multi-trunk in this case. In one case, let's see here, and then in another case just single. And the greenness, I want you to focus on the greenness of the fronds. All right, so let's go look at, in this park, let's go look at what they look like when they don't get the required, I think, fertilizers that they need. All other conditions here, I think, are wonderful. Yeah, hey, Somali Flame. Yeah, they do produce a lot of palm seeds. I'm not exactly sure if they're edible. Maybe somebody can fact check me on that. Okay, so look at this one. This is also a foxtail palm. And you notice how much different the color of the fronds are here. Yellow, and you can see some burning on the tips. Now this is probably a pretty dry part of the park to be in. I don't think it gets a lot of, a lot of irrigation. You can see it's very dry around the base. That can actually be an advantage. I don't think these palms mind that as much as they mind the lack of nutrients. Certainly would do better if watered more regularly, but you can see over time the lack of nutrients producing this pencil thin trunk, really, on this thing. It's not what you want, and a healthy one, you'll see, is quite different than that. And then here's another this is the old foxtail by the dumpster. Classic scenario. Again, yellow. Again, very burned on the tips. That's characteristic of all palm trees as the fronds die, but in this case, not feeling it. Look at this. Uh-oh, looks like this old boy has, this is where I stick my finger into the crack and get stung by a brown widow spider. Native to the barrier islands of eastern central Florida, as a matter of fact. Scary spider. Had one crawl down the leg of my young daughter about 15 years ago. That was a moment for me and her. I actually found it underneath the swing. It was still hiding there. Anyhow, brown widow spiders. Yeah, but this is the foxtail palm, not a brown widow spider. And you can see it suffered some trauma, potentially. It looks like maybe somebody backed up into it. That's one of the many hazards of being the dumpster palm. You probably sustained some shots, so this one's a doomed beast. And maybe that explains some of what happened to that other foxtail. But we're going to look at some healthy versions, and we'll also look at some that are kind of in the middle. But look, anywhere you look, you're finding edible things. Grapes, in this case. Now, this isn't the time of year that you're going to get any grapes off the grapes, but you also see various non-native things which grow around, like this carrotwood tree. You know about the carrotwood. It's a interesting tree, but grows very long roots under the ground. Okay, so let's go take a look at what some healthier foxtails would look like. I'm trying to see. Okay, over here. But before we go over there, let's go over there. I don't get distracted. I'm too easily distracted. Okay, so decline that. This is what they look like when they are healthy. Now, radically different scenario, but you can see the color differentiation just in these two palms. Which is one very much healthy, green, lush. You don't see those burned tips. The other one, more yellowy. And this is a very classic scenario. Here we go again. This frond coming out yellow, the rest more green. So I think what we're seeing here is an inconsistent fertilizer. So you can look in the description of this video. I have a palm fertilizer that I use that'll work great. Also fish emulsion, I have a link to that in there. That's another really good one. But if you're going to plant these, and I recommend you do, I'm actually considering these or coconut palms for my curb in my yard. You just have to make sure that you keep up on the fertilizing. And you'll have a beautiful palm tree. But if you don't, you'll get something like that stick back there, or inconsistent yellowing type of thing. But you really, this is a palm tree. If you're going to get into the foxtail palm growing scene, just plan on fertilizing them. That's all. You know, grass fertilizers or whatever, like Scott's Bonus S, I use that on my lawn. That helps the palms too, but you know, really you need a quality palm fertilizer or something like a fish emulsion to get these to where you are going to want them to be. And here again, the multi-trunk application, not a bad way to go. Yeah, there's so many palm varieties, so many types of palms. You say palm, the palm bomb, just right here. Okay, this is a multi-trunked foxtail, and then we got the double-trunked multi-trunked foxtail with one's dead. That's an advantage of having the multi-trunk. When one dies, you just still have business. Here's a pindo palm. I'll just go through a little, like, what's in sight here. Hopefully the wind's not too bad. We still have Tropical Storm Ada actually just impacted the state up towards Crystal River. So it's still kind of windy and rainy here. But this is a pindo palm, one that does better in colder temperatures, and it has delicious edible fruit. I wish they would plant 100 of these in this park and just say, eat them. But yeah, this is a great one. More grayish color, totally different. Whoa, just fell in a hole. Totally different type of palm frond there. This is a Bismarck palm. And you see the grayish color, but those gigantic fan palm leaves on those produce seeds that are something like a pool ball size, a little bit smaller. Let's see. Oh, okay, just be aware that we are crossing into gopher tortoise habitat. There's the cult of the gopher tortoise that exists where I live, and they are very into signs, extremely into signs. I'm not kidding you. There is one park that has 10 gopher tortoise signs in a park that's maybe a quarter mile of land. Anyhow, this is a beautiful date palm. One of many varieties. This is the, I'm going to get the name wrong, the Phoenix palm, as some people call it, but anyway, it's a giant date palm. And this is kind of interesting too. You see palms then become universe for other things to grow in, like these ferns. They grow quite nicely right in the kind of simulated soil setup of these palms. And there are a lot of examples of this: the strangler fig with the sable, any type of fern, certainly with any type of palm tree that accumulates this fibrous matter in there. And you can see it's very much like just soil, which is super cool. And if you keep on, oh, and Jack likes to call these the fuzzy bushes, which I like. I actually don't know the name of them. I'm happy just knowing them as fuzzy bush. But here's some scrub palm. Those gopher tortoises love those scrub palms. That's for sure. Oh, I'm going into the wind. Anyway, yeah, these, so they produce little fruits that all the native animals love to eat. They're good to have around. They also like, you know, to be managed with some amount of controlled burning, which I think they do here. How long yeah, David Silver, thanks for the question. Yeah, how long does it take for the foxtail to get as large as the ones that I showed? I would say probably a good 10 years. A good 10 years. I'll see if I can find a smaller one, but to get to the size that we're on the edge of that parking lot there, yeah, probably about 10 years. But they actually look pretty good even before they get to that size, that diameter of the trunk. So, you know, I think it's the kind of thing that looks good almost right away, even when they're small. And I've seen some for sale for, you know, if you can find a steel like this at a nursery or whatever, you know, for like $10, $12. And that's really what I'd like to find, is to get, here we are again. So honestly, I'm a big fan of gopher tortoises, but I'm not a big fan of signs. You know, as we're walking through here, just to get off on a tangent, so many signs everywhere. Sign for this, sign for that, political signs, which are the most boring type of sign in my opinion. I haven't seen any fruit stand signs. I have not seen any lemonade stand signs. It's time for us to reorient our signage, planet Earth. Oh, check this out. That's a beauty. Wow. Oh, that one smells really good too. I actually don't know the name of this one. For sure, a championship flower. Lots of them on it. But the good people who maintain this park, who are not me, have done a beautiful job, and they plant some interesting novelty things along the way. You know, if you go for a walk with me, I like to see the whole world through plants in some way. Like look at this. That's a pepper tree. You know, I see edibility everywhere. Hold on, I'm gonna just see if I think I got a little steam on the lens. Hopefully that's a little better. Okay, yeah, pepper. All right. And look at that. Now these are not native to Florida, and they do have a pretty bad effect on just overgrowing everything and shading everything out. But once you get past that, what you get to are red peppercorns, essentially. And there are so many that it drops that it just takes over everything. But look at that. Anybody want some pepper on their eggs? What I like to do is get a handful of them. Here's what I recommend you do. Get a handful of them, then you take them and you just smash them, and then you smell them. Put the cup of that right to your face and breathe deeply. Essential oils, peppercorn essential oils, and then sneeze. I just planted 5,000 pepper trees right there. Not on purpose. Yeah, right, like poison ivy. No, I haven't had that be the effect at all. But, you know, for me. Now, that's an interesting, but if it is, what have I done? No, I've done that many, many, many times. I guess my advice of, yeah, crumpling them up and putting them to your face in light of that last comment that they could have a poison ivy-like effect was probably not maybe the best advice. But for me, it's always worked. I can tell you, my daughter, who has a more sensitive skin, she's very sensitive to mango sap of the leaves. And I'm not at all. I don't have any real effect from poison ivy. I've walked through it many times and never had a problem with it. So, although I've never mashed it up in my hand and placed it on my face. Yeah, so anyway, walking around and you see edible things everywhere. Plus laurel oak trees. But this is a good example of, like, now that you see pepper trees, you only see pepper trees, right? Because once they start growing in here, it's just an endless, and that's why they're, you know, invasive in Florida, and certainly not the pick. You're never going to go short of pepper, really, is the bottom line there. I keep getting calls. I need to turn off my ringer next time. Yeah, they've really done a beautiful job with this park. And while we're on a palm tree walk, I'm fixing to get a new phone. That's what they say down here. Fixing to get a new phone, which will have a far greater streaming capability than this. Anybody know what these are? Well, that's a pretty shot, at least from my perspective. Yeah, these are what I've always been told are champagne bottle palms. And you can see, because they have that champagne bottle look to the trunk. There it is. That's a good one. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Champagne bottle palms. This is a dwarf variety. Oh, Assad, well, you're in the right place. Plants, yes. Yeah. That's what we talk about here, Assad. You should subscribe, join our streams. We're learning about palm trees, or talking about them at least. And this is a cool variety, the champagne bottle palm. Generally gets no bigger than maybe 8 feet tall, 10 feet tall in my experience. So it's a good one. It's a good specimen, really, that you could plant out. I've never seen them planted like this group, but that's kind of cool too. And you get to see how a bunch of them do. Not a lot of variation. You know, you saw a lot of variation in that foxtail, but you don't see a lot of variation in these. They're all planted in the same area, so there's some things that are the same. But you can see some evidence of a lack of fertilizing, which I'm not trying to criticize. They're still doing fine. It's just, you know, you add a little bit of that fertilizer. Oh, what a little scoop of fish emulsion would do for each one of these palms. But they're fine just the way they are. Really, the most environmentally friendly thing, in my opinion, to do is to not overdo it, certainly with the fertilizers, things like that. And then here's a classic. This is a classic of Florida in general, all the southern eastern states of the United States, which are sable palms. Just doing great. You're never going to need to add a fertilizer or care manual for one of these because they come ready to go. Everything is instinctual with these palms. This is native. They grow wild very easily. I have one of them in my yard, and I should probably plant another one. They're just, to me, great in every way. You can see how brittle the fronds are. That's an interesting. Hope this isn't like poison ivy. No, it's not. But you can see how they just turn right back into the dirt. And the question is, are they edible? Yes, the heart of palm are edible. Actually, the younger palms can be harvested, and the interior of the tree, the inside, the heart of the palm tree, is actually eaten. I always say I'm not really into that because I don't think it's worth killing the tree. But you know, if you had one growing like in a bad place, I would fully do it. Or if you're just growing them as a crop, like I could see that for sure. But I wouldn't go like try to eat one. I've had heart of palm too. It's not like incredible, but what I'm trying to do is get a good perspective on showing how many seeds. And I don't know if I can capture it, but there you go. You see up there, there are just hundreds of seeds on each flower. So this sucker's ready to go. You could easily grow a crop of these. You know, it'd just take a while for them to get to the... I don't know how long it would take for them to get to the point where you could harvest a heart from them, but that would be an interesting question. It's nice people walking around enjoying the day, like me. So yeah, what an incredible variety of palm trees, really, just in a small area of a very small park. Looks like we're walking through a jungle with nice green grass. I don't think they have that in the jungle. Hey, we might run into a gopher tortoise. I need another sign to tell me what to do. Yeah, the giant Schefflera. Probably just wound up here via bird. Yeah, at least 15 years, David was saying, for the, I think for the sable palm to be edible. The heart of palm. I like that estimate. We're at the edge of the park already. Okay, so now on to the second part of the stream, which I promised, which was, what are some applications of the foxtail palm in your world? Well, if you live in a place where they can grow outside, and that would be a place where it doesn't freeze often, then I would say you should grow at least one. I think they are best along curbs or as a single specimen. I know a lot of people like to grow them multi-trunk. That's one way to go as well. Turn back here. In Atlanta, Big Brick, I don't think it would be wise to grow them outside. However, I think you could grow them in a container in Atlanta or in a place that's cold. Let me know if this sound, I'll try to get out of the wind here a little bit, over here, walk through this jungly area. They are the type of palm that will grow fairly well in a pot. You just have to get a bigger and bigger pot, but that would be one cool way to grow them, which would be to get a big pot and bring them in when it's going to freeze. I'm not sure how often it freezes in Atlanta, but maybe that's a long period of time, or like a greenhouse. California fan or Sylvester palm. Yeah, so the Washingtonia, I think the Washingtonia robusta, I think is what it's called, the Washingtonia palm, is a good choice for colder weather, certainly. I wonder if you ever see a sable palm growing up around Atlanta. I've never seen one, but yeah, the new curb appeal, that's why I like those foxtails, really, is they have that, that look of the foxtail, that kind of bushy, symmetrical thing. They don't grow too fast. They're relatively easy to trim. They don't have any thorns. Yeah, but just to finish answering that previous question, I'm not sure about the California fan palm or that other variety exactly. I'd have to look at it. Oops, sorry. I was just trying to look back at it. Yeah, lots of sales in pindos, right? So the pindo palm, great choice. Great choice. I've seen that a lot around Jacksonville and farther in northern Florida as well, the pindo palm. So yeah, that seems to be a pretty reliable cold weather palm. Although it's kind of a little weird looking, it's not like a coconut palm, but still, at least it gives fruit. And that's the thing, if you can get one of the pindo palm varieties that produces copious fruit, I mean, you're in luck. The pindo palm fruit tastes something like, okay, I'm going to tell you, get off on a tangent here in a second, but I'll finish what I'm talking about. The pindo palm tastes something like a banana married with a pineapple. So, in my experience, so I'd say pindo palm should make the list. What on earth do we have here? How can this be happening? I was going to say papaya. Okay, one has fallen off. One leaf. Sure looks like a papaya. Sure has the sap of a papaya. It's hollow like a papaya. And it has the smell of a papaya, so I'm saying that's a papaya. And it's very interesting to me. I have videos on how to tell the difference between male and female and all the ideas related to papayas, but I have not seen one like this. This is dramatically different from my papaya. And I'm fascinated, yet have no idea. It's growing in this multi-trunk, bizarre, almost like frangipani style. Wow, what a find. Hey, look, there's one of those smaller, there's somebody's yard there, so I don't want to go too far. But there's one of those, oh, yeah, squirrel knows what's up. Hey, Mr. Squirrel. I think somebody's feeding him. But yeah, that's what the younger sable looks like. I wondered if one that size would be good for, that's probably the 10-year range of a sable palm. I wonder if something that size would produce the heart of palm. Here's a good example of what the sable tree, a sable tree stealing the stage here. We're supposed to be talking about foxtails, but they're so cool. Very young sable. You know, that's what I'd say you'd expect it to look like after about a year. Then they just rock. By the way, thanks, Big Brick. I appreciate it. The gratitude. Yeah, happy to make them. I love talking about this stuff, and I always learn a lot as well. So I like that as well. Yeah, sorry about that, Somali Flame. Now you've got the way they say, you've got the pindo palm on you. Can't get it off. You can't unknow it. And hence the I've talked about this a fair amount in my streams, that the tendency to go overboard in growing things is just always there and fun, and I would go with it, because you can always adjust fire later. Oh, this one, look, they've been doing a nice job trimming up the sable here. What do you know? Well, not to my standard, but probably shouldn't have a standard for palm tree trimming that you take that seriously, or else you'll be invited to less parties. Yeah, you can cut it and make it look beautiful, but the point is, it's that you see the tree, I think, it's like that. Looks like it suffered a little bit of damage from the tropical storm. Interesting. And there's another one of those carrot wood trees. You see anything that... Hi, good morning. Anything that you, that's successful around here, you're going to find all around. In this case, it's kind of nice. I have to admit, it's kind of a nice break from the pepper plants. Oh, wow. Big Rick has 2 Pinto and 2 windmills. They get big and survive winters. That is so cool. Alright, so trying to see if there's a good example. I'm gonna keep walking this way. The droopy support line. Look at that, the droopy. I don't think it needs much support anymore. Or it just got stretched in every direction in that tropical storm. All right, see you, Big Brick. Good luck at work. Yeah, just walking along these dwarf juvenile trees, and I think we'll get to a spot where we can take a look at those foxtails. Yeah, so easy to trim, easy to grow. They grow at a moderate pace, the foxtails, so definitely not that hard to manage. I think these Bismarcks kind of fall in that same category. They're just gigantic. They just get so huge. Same thing with this, I believe they call it Majesty Palm, Phoenix Robellini. Phoenix Robellini, yeah. Which is a relative to the dwarf Robellini. Hi. Okay, so here's what they look like. And I think that's kind of the general idea. Somebody had the good sense to plant them in this application, and we all get to enjoy them. But we see right away, it's evident what we need to pay attention to, which is if we're going to plant these and we want them to be green, we're going to have to keep up on the fertilizing. Otherwise, I'd say it's good to go. And if you see what they look like down in South Florida, where they're really in their optimal environment, they just get gigantic. And I have some in my neighborhood that are gigantic, perfect specimens. But look at the frond on that. That's why they call it the foxtail. You can see silhouetted in the sky. It is a beautiful situation. Okay, well, thanks for joining me on this stream. I think I'm going to do a couple more streams today on different topics, different areas, and maybe you'll be around to join me. If not, you can always watch them later. If this is your first Eat Your Backyard video, then go ahead and subscribe and turn on the notification bells. You have to go in and do something to get it to notify you in your world that a stream is occurring, if that's something you're into. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and click on the links in the description to Amazon, etc. It supports the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra, so that's an easy way to go. But I also have links to things on Amazon. You can get different plants and so on if that interests you. But I always say my first choice is to make a friend, get a cutting if possible, and grow your sense of community and togetherness over something so cool like growing stuff and beautiful beauty and plants. Have a great day. Keep it positive, keep it real. Thanks for watching Eat Your Backyard.